Yes, good evening, students. Welcome to the next session and the second session of your group behavior topic. Okay, and in this lecture, we will cover up all these important concept of group behavior, continuing from the last session. Okay. So I think we will wait for a few minutes for everyone to join, and then we'll start. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And I think I have prepared that case study word file for you. Okay, so I will take the email IDs right now in the class itself. Okay, and I'll just send that all 5 cases which we have discussed till last class today itself. Okay. So today we will cover up the next part of the syllabus. I think in the last class we have started with the group behavior and the concept related to what is group, how the group is formed, and the process of group dynamics. That what we have covered up in the last class. Okay. Now, today we will discuss about next part, that is characteristics of matured group. The first topic we will start after few minutes of time. Okay. So I think we should wait for a few minutes. Okay, students. So let me share my screen now and we'll start the session because today we have to cover up these all topics. Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. Yeah. Yes, I hope so. My screen is visible now. And the next topic, this is the last part I think we have discussed in the last class, that is stages of development of a group. Okay, and we will also discuss case study of group behavior today in this class. 2 case study will cover up in today's class. Okay, and definitely we'll wind up this particular topic in today's class itself. So I think we should start this particular topic, and the next topic which we have, that is characteristics of group or matured group. Okay. Characteristics of mature group. We discuss about the basic characteristics of a matured group. The matured group is basically a group which actually show the sign of, you could say, structural, behavioral norms. And when we talk about the cohesiveness and we talk about the informal leadership. Okay. So when we discuss about the characteristics of matured group, the first thing which we need to understand about these characteristics are basically role structure, behavioral norms, cohesiveness, and informal leadership. Okay. So first point is called your role structure. Second point, role structure. Role structure. Second one is behavioral norms. The third one, we have informal leadership. Informal leadership. And the last point we have, that is called cohesiveness. Last point we have, that is called cohesiveness. We'll discuss all these points one by one. Now, when we discuss about the first characteristics, which is called the role structure, the role structure is basically nothing but each and every individual member of the group always understand their responsibility, their you could say their leadership and their task. According to that, each and every individual actually behave accordingly. Okay. Now, in this case, when we talk about the role structure for a particular group, each and every individual know about what is their role, what is their responsibility in the group. And when we discuss about the some individual, because when we talk about group basically consists of so many people. Okay. And each and every people having certain, you could say, leadership type, and they always interact on the daily basis. Okay. In such a cases, when we discuss about the relationship, or you could say interrelationship, you could say among group member, it is clearly defined and accepted. Okay. Interrelationship is clearly defined and accepted. Okay. Now, the next and the most important part when we come to role structure, like when we discuss our role ambiguity, when we role conflict or role overload, the important thing is that the manager always need to understand and try to avoid what to avoid basically, that is called role ambiguity. When we talk about role ambiguity, when we talk about role conflict and role overload, always remember, because somehow when we discuss about any organization, most important part is that the manager must need to understand the responsibility and the role which is being defined to each and every member of the particular group. And even though once we have defined the role and structure for each and every individual, the important thing is that the role, you could say, should not be ambiguous, it should not be confused. First of all, if I mean to say, it should not be based on conflict, and it should not be overloaded. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the next part, that is called the behavioral norms. Okay. Now, what is behavioral norm basically? Behavioral norm is basically is all about, when we discuss about any group, the important thing in the case of behavioral norms, that their behavior should not change rapidly. Okay. Because when we discuss about the responsibility, when we discuss about the role, their behavior should always be permanent, and they always need to cooperate with the management whenever, you could say, managements are facing any type of issues. Okay. So in such a cases, it is always important to understand the, you could say, the behavioral pattern of individual. A behavioral pattern or behavioral norm, when we talk about, it is nothing but all about communication. Then we discuss about the cooperation. When we discuss about the satisfaction of group members. So this is a very, very important part when we discuss about the behavioral norms, that is the communication among group member, their cooperation and their satisfaction with the work which is being assigned to each and every individual. Okay. The next and important part when we discuss about this particular characteristics of matured groups, it is called informal leadership. Okay. Now, when we talk about the informal leadership is basically is all about, as we know that uh, in informal groups, basically, if we talk about informal group, always having one or more leaders. Okay. And these leaders having their own, we could say, perspective about any situation in the organization. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the primary leader of any group, okay, the secondary leader has to follow, or secondary leader might be conflict with that. The important thing is that the primary leader must have, you could say, more influence on the group as compared to secondary leaders. Okay. So informal leadership, when we discuss about, that is about the primary leader must have more influence as compared to secondary leader. Okay. It's very, very important, because if in a group, if we talk about, there would be, you could say, more than one leadership, definitely there would be high ambiguity, there would be, could say, higher conflict in the organization, and there would be less cohesiveness when we talk about the informal leadership in any group, or you could say the maturity of the group would not be reflect. The last part we have, that is called cohesiveness. Okay, the cohesiveness is basically is all about the attractiveness of group members. Okay, now when we discuss about the attractiveness of the group members, it is all about how basically you could say consistently contributed by each and every member in order to achieve the organizational goals. Okay, so when we discuss about the this cohesiveness part, it is more about, you could say, consistency and, could say, higher consistency and contribution to achieve goals of the organization. Okay, it's a very important part when we discuss about the cohesiveness, that the group cohesiveness must be based on the consistency, contribution to achieve the goals of the organization. So it's a very important part when we talk about the characteristics of a matured group. Okay, I think is this topic clear? I think so. Very simple it is. Then we'll discuss about the group norms, the next and important topic. Group norms and types of group norms. Okay. Okay, so I think we should start with the next topic. If you have any query in between, you can raise your hand, please. Okay. Now, the next topic which we are talking right now, that is called group norms. Okay. Now, when we discuss about what do you mean by group norms, actually, the group norms are basically nothing but, you could say, group behavior, group standard, group belief, group attitude, you could say group tradition, group expectation, which is being shared by the group member. So ultimately, group norms are basically nothing but whatever, you could say, reflection which is being proposed, which is being given by the groups. And basically, these group norms are rules, regulation, guidelines, which is being accepted by each and every group member in the organization. Okay. So group norms, as I told you already, it is group behavior standard, comma, beliefs, attitudes, traditions, and expectations. And expectation shared by the group members. The other definition of, when we talk about this particular group norms, these are rules and regulations which is being accepted by each and every group member in the society. Now, when we talk about this particular term norms, norms are basically nothing but the acceptable and the unacceptable behavior. Okay, norms means acceptable or unacceptable behavior. Okay, now these norms are also always playing, you could say, a significant role in the organization in order to, you could say, enforce, in order to, you could say, motivate the group member to work regularly and properly without any absenteeism and without any employee turnover, or you could say human turnover. Okay, group norms, these norms always reduce absenteeism and turnover. Okay, now when we discuss about this particular group, you could say we have to discuss about the type of groups in this particular case. Okay, so when we discuss about the type of, you could say, a group, okay, there are basically two different type of group. The one is called, you could say, behavioral norms, and second one is called your performance norms. Okay, so with the next topic we have, that is about type of group norms. Types of group norms. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the type of group norms, 1 minute. Types of group norms. The first thing is called behavior norms. The second one is called performance norms. Now, what does it mean? We need to understand one by one. Norms, as I told you already, is nothing but simple rules, regulation, belief, standard of particular group. Now, when we discuss about the behavioral norms, the behavioral norm basically are nothing but the rule that standardize that how a particular individual will act while working on a day-to-day basis. Okay, like how to greet a customer, okay, how to behave in the organization. So behavioral norm basically nothing but rules to standardize how individual act while working on day-to-day basis, and these make sure these group behavioral norms are always varying from a company to company, how a company basically work, whether it's manufacturing company or a service industry or which type of service industry it is. Accordingly, the group norms will always differ when we come to greeting the customer, when we come to, you could say, follow the norms, when we come to follow some ethical standard of the company, that everything will come under behavioral norms. Okay. The next part we have performance norm. Performance norm is nothing but the standardized employee output which is being expected by the company and the number of working hour which the particular worker must have to work. Okay, so it is nothing but rules that standardize employee output and number of hours worked. So this is a very simple and the important topic when we discuss about the two types of norm, that is called behavioral norms and this is called the performance norms. Okay. Now, the next part we have, when we come to, you could say, group norms, after that we have certain, you could say, important topic which comes under, that is for reasons of strong group enforcement. Okay. The next topic, which is called reasons of strong group enforcement. Okay, now when we discuss about this basic reason, okay, how these norms are basically helping the company to set the standards of the group, and these group standards are basically helping to enforce, you could say, more productively in the organization. Okay, now the first part is that if the norms facilitates group success or ensure group survival, the very simple topic we have. The second point is that if the group norms simplify or predict regarding the behavior which is accepted from group members. Okay. The third point which we have under this, that is being, if the norm emphasizes the roles of specific members within a group. And the last point we have, if the norms help the group, to solve interpersonal problems themselves. Rather to commit out into the, I could say, higher authorities or into the public, it's better that the group norms, I could say, always, you could say, help to resolve all the interpersonal problem by themselves only without any interference of the any external member or from the top management. So that's a very basic topic, how a particular reasons of how the group enforcement will basically works. Is it clear, please? I think so. Then we'll discuss about the next topic, that is called the group cohesiveness. Okay, because we are discussing all these parameters right now, the group cohesiveness, informal groups one by one. Is there any query to anyone, please? Kindly update. If not, then we'll move to the next topic, group cohesiveness. Because today I think we will discuss at least 2 to 3 cases, because this topic will cover up in today's class. Okay. In the first half before break, we will cover up this theory part, and the second half we will cover up at least 2 case studies of group behavior. Yes, students, is there any query to anyone? No? If no doubt, we will move to the next topic. Okay, fine. I think no more query. So let's start with the next topic. That is called group cohesiveness. Okay, now when we discuss about the group cohesiveness, what do you mean by cohesiveness? The definition given by Likert. Okay, so according to Likert, as we discussed already, what is cohesiveness? I think if you remember, that is nothing but consistency and contribution to achieve goals of an organization. Okay, now when we discuss about this particular consistency, as per Likert, what is the cohesiveness definition is all about? Okay, now as you can see that the definition given by Likert is that cohesiveness is the attractiveness of the members towards the group or resistance of member leaving it. Resistance of members leaving it. Okay, like when we discuss about this group cohesiveness, it is nothing but simply attachment of members with the group. Attachment of members with the group. Okay, now there is one more definition which was given by Ashwalhappa. According to Ashwalhappa, the definition says that cohesiveness is understood as is the extent of liking each member, or each other, you can say definitely, each member has towards others, and how far everyone wants to remain as the member of the group. Means up to what extent you want to become the member of this particular group, it totally depends on your cohesiveness, it totally depends on your attractiveness toward the group. So member of the group. Okay, there is, you could say, one more you could say part which we talk about the cohesiveness. The cohesiveness simply associated with the cohesiveness is associated with attractiveness. Okay, so like when we discuss about the cohesiveness, means how a particular group members are basically strongly connected, how they are attracted towards each other when we talk about any organization. Okay, and it is also about the extent to which the group members are loyal and committed. It is basically extent to which group members are loyal and committed. Okay, and like as we discuss about, like, because if the group member having high cohesiveness, okay, definitely the result, the output and the efficiency of the company would be definitely on the higher side. But if the group cohesiveness is on the lower side, definitely it will result in the low output, low efficiency in the organization. Okay, so there are certain advantages of group cohesiveness we have now. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, that is called the advantages of group cohesiveness. Okay, the first and the important part when we discuss about the group cohesiveness advantage, the members of cohesive group have high morale. Okay, like I'll just talk simple. Members of cohesive group has high morale. Okay, second one, the members don't have conflicting views. Members don't have conflicting views. Okay, and as we know that whenever we do not have any, you could say, conflicting views, definitely it will reduce the chance of clashes among the company. Okay, I could write down conflicting views. As a result, decreases chances of clash. Okay, next one, no anxiety at workplace, because you always enjoy the company, you always want to enjoy the association of the group members, so no anxiety at workplace. Okay, the next one we have, the group members are regular at work. Are regular at work. Okay, the next one we have, after group cohesiveness, they are regular at the work, definitely it will increases productivity. Okay, next point and the last point we have, that is about, because whenever we have a cohesive group, they communicate better, they share ideology, they respect opinion of the fellow employees. Okay, so we can write down like better communication when we talk about any cohesive group. When we discuss about, you could say, they share ideologies. Then we talk about they respect opinions of fellow employees. Okay, so these are the important point which comes under advantages of group cohesiveness. Okay, now we have certain factor that will increase group cohesiveness and certain factor that will decrease group cohesiveness. Okay, that we'll discuss now. If you have any query in this particular topic, please, group cohesiveness and its advantages, please do let me know. If not, then we'll move to the factor increasing group cohesiveness and factor decreasing group cohesiveness. Please do let me know. Is there any doubt? If you have any, we can raise your hand, we can discuss, else we'll move to the next topic. Yes, I think Mr. Gurumurthy. Please tell me. I have unmuted you, please.
Uh, hey, hi. So this is my first class which I'm attending, or that is MBA. So this is the first chapter which we are having that group discussion.
No,
It's a
no,
group
no.
behavior.
Actually, this is the lecture number 11 of OB.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
and
So
as of now, like in the last month, in the January month, we have covered up financial management, the first subject.
okay,
And
okay,
in this month, on the 1st of March, we have started with the OB. And I think we have covered up around 8 to 9 topics.
okay. So my concern is like, have you shared any documents, or have you whatever you're writing, then notepad or word
Yeah,
files?
it is.
Will you please able to
See,
share that?
recorded lectures are already there on the YouTube.
Okay. So could you please able to share the link of that YouTube?
No, no, actually, you can do it by your own. You can do one thing, just go to YouTube, search IIB
Okay.
Business Management. You will find all the lectures.
Okay. Cool. Then it's fine. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Pleasure. Yes. Other doubt? Any other query to anyone, please? Kindly confirm. If not, then we will move to the next topic now. Yes, students, I think we should move to the next topic. I think so. There are no more doubts in the class right now. Okay. So let's start now with the factors increasing group cohesiveness and factor decreasing group cohesiveness. Okay, this is the last topic we have. And after that, we'll start the case study after a short break. Okay. So the next topic we have factors increasing group cohesiveness. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the factors increasing group cohesiveness, the first one is that competitiveness with other group. The first and foremost thing, competitiveness with other groups. Next, interpersonal attraction. Next, we have favorable evaluation from outsiders. Favorable evaluation from outsiders. Next, agreement on goals. And the last point we have frequent interaction. I think so. It's a very simple point which comes under that how a particular group cohesiveness can be increased. Okay. If you have any query in this 5 point, please do let me know. I think we have already covered up all these points when we are, I think in the last class, we are starting about this particular group behavior topic. Okay. So any doubt, please, in this particular 5 points, if you have, please raise your hand. That is group cohesiveness, how it can be increased. There are the major 5 points which comes under consideration. Yes, students, I'm waiting for that. Please kindly confirm. Yes, student, please kindly confirm. If no more queries, we can move to the next topic, please. Yes, and I don't think so there are many query to anyone. Let's move to the next topic, please. Okay, that is factors reducing group cohesiveness. Okay, now as you know that how the particular group effectiveness, group cohesiveness, or you could say group efficiency can be decreased, there are major points which we have. The first and important point is that large group size. If the group size would be large, definitely there would be less cohesiveness and more conflict in the organization. Okay, disagreement on goals, because if the group members are not agreed on a frequent manner, that is that disagreement on the goals or the points or the situation, it will lead to basically reduction in the cohesiveness of the group members. Competitiveness within group. Competitiveness within group, because it will actually increase the group conflict simply. Okay, domination by one or more member. Domination by one or more members. And the last point, please, we have that is called unpleasant experience. Unpleasant experience. So these are the major points which comes under group cohesiveness, how the factors affecting, you could say, a factor reducing group cohesiveness. Okay, so I think so we are done with this particular topic as well, about what is group behavior, and I'll just give a quick revision to you what we have covered up till last class. Okay, so we have started with the group behavior. We have discussed that introduction part, need and importance we have covered up. Types of group we have covered up, functional, task, and informal. Then we discuss about the group formation and development stages, stages of group development. And today we started with the characteristics of matured group norms, and types of group norms, and reserve for strong group enforcement, group cohesiveness, advantages, how to increase, and how the group cohesiveness can be decreased. So these basically the topics which we need to cover up when we come to group. Okay, now we'll discuss at least 2 case study today about this group. If you have any query, please do let me know and raise your hand, please, and from this topic, that is group behavior. Yes, friends, please kindly confirm. Any query, any doubt to anyone? If not, and definitely I have already prepared that file for you, because we have covered up at least 5 case study till now. Okay, so today I'll take the email IDs of all the students, and I'll definitely mail you by today itself. Okay, the class timing only. Any query to anyone, please? If not, then I think we should move for a break of 10 minutes, and definitely we'll discuss 2 case studies afterwards. I'm unmuting everyone now, please. If you have any query, you can unmute yourself and please we can discuss. Else we'll start with at least 2 case study today for the class. Yes, students, you can unmute yourself. If you have any query, please kindly proceed. Yes, Mr. Gurumurthy, Poonam, Rahul, Shabana, and Somajit. Any doubt? Because we'll discuss one practical case now. Okay, perfect then. I think so. I'm just moving to the case study. I think before moving to the case study, I think we should go for a break now of 10 minutes, and continuously we'll discuss the case studies. Okay, so we'll get back to you at sharp 5:50 now. Okay. Yes, friends. So now I think we should start with the first case study. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen with you right now. Basically, all these 5+2 case study we'll discuss today. Okay. And I think this is the yesterday's case study I think we have covered up. That is bullying boss. No, not bullying boss. Actually, bullying boss and it's not fair. We have already covered up. Okay. And I think yesterday we discussed about this MBWA as well, undercover bosses. Okay. That we've also completed. Ethical dilemma, spitting mad, we have also completed. Multitasking is also completed. Okay. So today I think we'll try to cover at least these two case study. If time permit, we'll go for third case study as well. Okay. So first of all, I'm just going to discuss this first case study of group behavior, that is called is social loafing shirking. Okay. The first case study which we have. Okay. So I think I'll give you 10 minutes of time for reading of this particular case, and then we'll start discussing one by one all these important case studies. Okay. Yes, students. So I'm giving you 10 minutes of time for this. Please proceed for this particular very short case we have. If you want, I'll enlarge my screen a bit. First of all, please try to understand what is social loafing. Okay. And then I think you would be able to understand very, very easily about this particular concept. So, student, first of all, you need to important thing is to that you need to understand what is social loafing. Social loafing is basically, for example, if a particular person working in the group, he's actually working less what he can actually working less and want to achieve more. Okay. And what he thinks that if I'll work less, definitely my other group member will work and they will achieve the group target. That is called social loafing. Okay. And because the person is actually not putting their best effort, not putting the 100%. Okay. And he thinks that if I'll work less, definitely I'll actually get the same recognition what the group will actually get after achieving the group targets. Okay, that is what social loafing is all about. Now go through with it, please. Please complete fast. We'll discuss this case questions as well today. Okay. It's very, very simple case study. Do it fast. We'll start discussing this case at sharp 6 o'clock. Okay. Do it fast, please. Yes, students. Yes, student, it is done. I think if it is done, please kindly raise your hand. We will discuss. First of all, you need to understand about the meaning of social loafing. Okay. And then only you would be able to understand what this loafing is all about. And we can answer these 3 group questions. Okay. Please, if it is done, please do let me know. You can raise your hand so that I can understand you are done with this. And we'll start discussing about this case study. Yes, students. So I think, yeah, Miss Shabana has done. Anuj, Gurumurthy, Poonam, Rahul. Okay, I think hope so everyone is done now. Okay, fine. So let's start with Miss Poonam, I think so. Miss Poonam, please, you can start with this particular what is social loafing and what you understood with this case study, please.
Social loafing is one of the activities of the group members who doesn't take the task of assigned to any group, and they often feel not they often themselves not feel responsible for their contribution in the group. So the other members who are working in the group are working seriously, so they should be rewarded according to this case study. They should be rewarded more than the individual who are in the group.
And I
So
think
the case study is saying that while this tactics may be effective in our experience, yes, the case study is saying that this social loafing should be as a taken as a action against the group members.
Yes, definitely, because it is somehow impacting the company's performance. Okay, because when we discuss about
Yes,
social loafing, yeah, because people, what the people think that they feel they want to actually, you could say, feel responsible for the group achievement, for the group task, but they should not, they do not want to contribute actually towards group development.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
ultimately, like, when we discuss about this particular concept, this is you could say one of the disadvantage when you could say like it's always important. Like for example, if I'm working in a group and a particular person has actually achieved a particular task, okay, ultimately what used to happen, the person always thinks that why should I work hard if others are working actually on our behalf. Okay, so that is the basically the part
yes.
of group, you could say loafing, and these hybrid bases actually, because somehow they are taking the advantage of you could say group, you could say group recognition. Along with that, they are also taking the advantage of individual recognition, and
Yes.
definitely this should be stopped somehow. There should be, you could
Yes,
say,
sir.
certain,
Yes,
certain
sir.
parameter, there should be certain guidelines how the company can actually work in a group and to achieve you could say organizational success. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you so much, Poonam. Anyone else please having any other angle of thinking about this case study?
Hi, hi,
Yes, please continue.
hi. This is Gurumurthy. So, according to this case studies, what I thought is like um, what I learned is the social loafing is one of the disadvantage of working groups. That's what they're saying. So why don't the social loafing to be unethical? Like so if they're thinking if there are a lot of people should be in a group they will do work together and to get to achieve a common goals. So if someone tries to justify so why the someone doing is less work than other participants in the group, so they might be shrinking. So simply is making this simply is making the lot of lack of productivity from others. So this could be the exactly the unethical. So when there is a group is assigned, the group members are assigned to the responsible task.
Yes, please continue.
Uh, Sorry. So, what is responsible tasks? So role should be clarified and the work should be equally distributed to the others. So everyone from the members can easily participate and they can show that talent and they can give a suggestion and also they can target. They can achieve target with maximum number of efforts with the support of the group members. That's what it can be. Social ping should be useful when it is a team member, when the team members are around with us, and when it's a group ethical things. Just
Yes,
correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, very good, very good. I think it's a very good input you have given. You like when we talk about the how the group loafing can be, you could say, suppressed first of all, and how there should be, you could say, a standardized parameter in order to
Yeah,
analyze the performance of on an individual basis and on a group basis. Because
yeah,
somehow when we discuss about the parameter, somehow when we talk about the standard which is being set by the company in terms of analysis and giving recognition to all those who are working really hard towards organization success. So that is the
yes,
basic
correct.
parameter, and I think we can see that there is no thumb rule actually for this in order to you could say achieve in the organization. The most important, the more important when we talk about it, totally depends on the company's dynamics, and accordingly the things may be mold, things may be altered in terms of you could say setting the parameter, the standards for the company.
Yeah. So maybe the social thing occurs. So when you pressurize someone in the team, or they should be dissipated by the presence of others. So someone is performing well among the group members. The individual feels as a pressure shared by the other people. So it should be the equally assigned to the usually assigned with the task. And so during a shared group activities, there won't be a degrees in an individual effort due to the social pressure. That's what I felt. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yes, definitely, Mr. Gurudji. Thank you so much. I think it's a nice interaction, I think, about this case study.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think, student, that is quite sufficient actually what this group loafing is all about. Everyone understood. I think so. Okay. So I think if it is possible, we should move to the next case study. And this complete, you could say, file, definitely I'll share it with you. Okay. So I think we should move to the next case now. That is called the negative aspect of collaboration. Okay. So let's start, I think, with the next case study now. The negative aspect of collaboration. Just have a read of this case first, and then we'll discuss this case study. Yes, and please kindly go through it fast. We will discuss this case at sharp 6:20 now. Okay, please do it. Yes, students, shall we start now, I think, for discussion on this case, that is negative aspect of collaboration. Okay. So I'm unmuting everyone again, and please kindly start with the discussion on this. And this is the last topic we have for the day. And from Monday, we'll start the next topic. Tomorrow, we have a doubt clearing session. Okay. Please proceed ahead, please. You can unmute yourself. Yes, Ms. Poonam, please continue.
So the case is that the coordination and collaboration among the group, in the group or teams. So it should be in that form, whatever the decision or idea they take, it should be in logical manner. It should have a particular reason, or it may be have in a pooled manner, so that it may be in form of productive to the company.
Okay.
So when this decision of any group or any is reached to higher level or corporate level, it should be in a positive aspect, not a negative aspect.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Any other input, please, Ms. Poonam? Because like usually when we talk about the practical implication of collaboration. Yeah, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because when we talk about the practical collaboration of, it is a practical application
Or
of.
emotional.
Yes, Ms. Poonam, please you complete first.
So it is in the last sentence. It is said that emotional attachment has the. It is important to see whether the team has developed an emotional attachment to one course or action, or has succumbed to groupthink.
Okay. Yes. Because like, see, because we
There should be not the such. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we are discussing this particular topic right now on the perspective that the group collaboration on the negative side, because definitely collaboration should not always be on the negative side. It may be some positive outcome as well, but right now the case which we have in front,
Yes.
it is all about the negative aspect of, you could say, collaboration. And in this case, as you can see that
Yes.
how this collaboration can actually become, you could say, much more, you could say, a biased approach, much more a biased approach in the organization, and how this particular biased approach are basically helping the company, not helping the company, first of all, how this bias approach basically creating the negative side of any collaboration. Okay, so somehow that actually, as per the case of this Daniel Kahneman actually and the colleagues, how the commitment and the group cohesiveness basically completely disturbed because of this particular collaboration ultimately.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think it's a very simple case.
Because yes, sir.
Yes, because see, this is the case number 7 we are discussing right now, and all these 7 cases, definitely I'll just share with you, and you have to complete these particular cases and the answers on the same Word file, so that I can just check it out, your answers as well. Okay. Sure. I think yes. Any other aspect
yes,
about?
So we can't.
Please, Musmina, continue.
So we can't send the camera scan through what through this.
Yeah, you can
write
even
on the answer sheets on this.
Yeah, you can type it on Word file.
A4 size.
No, you can type it on the same Word file now. No need to just maintain a separate, you could say, A4 or scan copy.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. So these 7 cases will complete, and definitely tomorrow you have the doubt clearing session. So if you have any doubt, if you have any query, you can log in. If not, definitely we'll catch you on Monday now. Okay, for the next topic.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes. And we'll catch you on tomorrow for doubts, and Monday with the new topic. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you very much.